Before you do anything, before you sign a lease, before you call a realtor, before you ask your parents what they think, watch the next few minutes of this video. Because there is a number most people never calculate. And that missing number is the difference between building serious wealth and spending a decade running in place financially. Everyone has an opinion on this. Your parents probably told you renting is throwing money away. Your friends who just bought a house will tell you they're finally building equity. And social media is packed with people who act like owning a home is basically a personality trait. But here's what none of them are showing you: the actual math. And when you run the full numbers, not the version your realtor shows you, the full version, the answer might completely flip what you thought you knew. We're going to do that math together, right here, with real numbers. And I promise by the end of this video, you will have a clearer picture of this decision than 95% of people who are making it right now. But before we get to the number that changes everything, let's start with why so many people get this wrong from the very beginning. Here's the belief most people walk in with: owning a home is an investment, renting is an expense. So buying is always the smarter move. And look, on the surface, that sounds reasonable. When you pay a mortgage, a portion of that payment chips away at what you owe. You're building ownership. You're building something real. When you pay rent, that money goes to your landlord and you never see it again. That story feels airtight. And it's also dangerously incomplete. Because buying a home comes with a set of costs most people never add up. And when you finally do add them up, the picture looks very different. I'm not here to tell you buying is bad. I'm not here to tell you renting is smart. I'm here to show you the full math, because only the full math gives you the right answer for your situation. And right now, most people are making this decision based on half the math. If you're the kind of person who wants to make smarter money decisions, instead of just blindly doing what everyone else does, subscribe right now, because that's exactly what this channel is about: running the real numbers so you can decide. Let's say you're looking at a $400,000 home. Pretty typical in a mid-sized US city right now. You decide to put 20% down, that's $80,000 out of your pocket on day one, just to get in the door. Your remaining loan is $320,000. At a 7% mortgage rate on a 30-year fixed loan, your monthly mortgage payment is roughly $2,130. But here's where most people stop the math. And stopping here is exactly what leads them to the wrong answer. Because your mortgage payment is not your total housing cost. Not even close. Property taxes on a $400,000 home average about 1.1% per year in the US. That's $4,400 a year, another $367 a month. Homeowners insurance? Add around $150 a month. And then there's maintenance. Financial planners typically recommend budgeting 1% of your home's value per year for upkeep, roof repairs, HVAC, plumbing, the stuff that just happens. On a $400,000 home, that's $4,000 a year, or another $333 a month. So your total monthly cost of owning that $400,000 home isn't $2,130. It's closer to $2,980 a month. And we haven't even talked about closing costs yet. Buying a home typically runs you 2% to 5% of the purchase price just in fees. On $400,000, that's up to $20,000 gone before you even move in. Now, I want to be fair here. Part of your mortgage payment, about $256 of that first payment, goes toward paying down your loan balance. So you're building equity. That matters. We're going to come back to that. But first, let's look at the other side of this. Now let's say, instead of buying, your rent is $2,000 a month for a comparable home in the same area. You're paying $2,000. Your landlord handles the broken water heater, the leaky roof, the property tax bill. Your total cost, $2,000 a month. That's roughly $980 per month less than what you'd be paying to own that $400,000 home. So here's the question almost nobody asks. What happens to that $980 difference if you're renting and you blow that extra $980 on stuff you don't need? Yeah, renting isn't doing you any favors. But what if you invested it? If you invested that $980 every month into a diversified index fund, something tracking the S&P 500, and it earned an average of 8% per year, which is a realistic long-term historical average in 10 years, you'd have roughly $180,000. And remember that $80,000 down payment you didn't put into a house? If that had been invested at the same rate from day one, it would have grown to about $173,000 in 10 years. So the renter in this scenario, could have over $350,000 in invested assets after 10 years. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the buyer has been building equity too, and we need to compare those numbers honestly. Over 10 years of mortgage payments on that $320,000 loan, you'd pay down roughly $43,000 of the principal. Your loan balance drops from $320,000 to about $277,000. And your home has, hopefully, appreciated in value. The long-term average appreciation for U.S. homes is about 4% per year. On a $400,000 home, after 10 years at 4% annual appreciation, your home is worth approximately $592,000. So your equity, the difference between what the home is worth and what you still owe, is about $315,000. That's a genuinely powerful number. But before you circle that in red and say buying wins, there's a number we haven't added yet. And this is the number almost nobody includes in their comparison. Over those 10 years, how much did you actually spend on the costs of ownership beyond the mortgage principal? Interest payments alone over 10 years on that loan, approximately $218,000. Yes, $218,000 in interest, and that's not building equity, that's just the cost of borrowing money. Property taxes over 10 years, about $44,000. Insurance, around $18,000. Maintenance, around $40,000. Add those up, over $320,000 in ownership costs that never become equity. So your $315,000 in equity came at the cost of significant cash outflow. The home went up in value, that's real, but the path there was expensive. Here's how this actually plays out after 10 years with real numbers. If you buy, you have roughly $315,000 in home equity. To access it, you'd need to sell, and selling comes with another 5 to 6% in agent commissions and closing costs. On a $592,000 home, that's around $33,000 gone. Your net from selling, approximately $282,000. If you rent and invest, you could have roughly $350,000 in invested assets, liquid, accessible, not tied to a single property in a single city. At first glance, this looks like renting barely edges out buying. But flip one number, and the whole answer changes. What if the home appreciates at 6% instead of 4%? After 10 years, that $400,000 home is worth around $716,000. Your equity jumps dramatically, and buying wins by a wide margin. What if you can't consistently invest that monthly difference? If that $980 just sits in a savings account at 2%, renting's advantage disappears fast. What if your rent increases by 5% every year? Your $2,000 rent becomes $3,257 by year 10. Suddenly, the predictable mortgage payment looks a lot more attractive. And here's a factor that's easy to forget. When you sell your primary residence, the first $250,000 of profit, $500,000 if married, is tax-free under current U.S. law. That's a significant tax benefit renters don't get. This next piece is what most people never factor in, and it might be the most important variable of all. Buying tends to win when you stay in the home for at least 7 to 10 years. The upfront costs, closing costs, the early years of mostly interest payments take time to be offset by appreciation and equity. If you move in 3 years, you'll almost certainly be better off having rented. Buying also wins when the market you're in has strong, consistent appreciation, when your mortgage payment is close to or below comparable rent, and when you have the financial stability to absorb surprise costs without it derailing your life. Renting tends to win when you value flexibility, when your career, your relationships, or your sense of where you want to live hasn't fully settled. Locking yourself into a 30-year mortgage in a city you might leave in 4 years is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Renting also tends to win when you're in a high price-to-rent ratio market, meaning homes are expensive relative to rental prices. There's a simple calculation called the price-to-rent ratio. Take the home price and divide it by the annual rent for a comparable property. If that number is above 20, renting is generally more financially efficient. Above 25, renting often wins decisively. On a $400,000 home with $2,000 monthly rent, your price-to-rent ratio is 16.7. That's in the range where buying can make sense if you stay long enough. Here's what I want you to walk away with. The question isn't, should I rent or buy? The question is, what do your numbers look like? How long are you staying? What is the actual all-in cost of ownership in your market? What would you realistically do with the money you're not putting toward a down payment? What is the price to rent ratio where you live? Run those numbers honestly, not the version that confirms what you already want to do, the version that actually reflects reality. Because the biggest financial mistake people make with housing isn't choosing wrong between renting and buying, it's making that decision based on emotion and social pressure instead of math. Do the math. Your future self will be grateful you did.